Hello, Dr. Thomas here. Another message of spiritual wisdom. We're in February 2023, and there's a lot going on. Today I'm not going to channel as much as I'm going to just talk. Because this month is about ego and soul. So I want to share a couple stories. A few years ago, I was teaching. It was one of the worst times in my life. I was going through a lot of stuff. I ended up teaching social justice courses at a college. And I taught these courses, and I loved it so much. Not only was it great for me when I was going through my life to be that introspective, to understand myself more, to get involved with who I am and really dive deep, but to help these students. Because one thing we had to do is we had to first go into what I was calling back then the ego. I was using a lot of just research and older philosophy to teach us this course. And the biggest thing we have to do is go inside ourselves and find out what is our biases. What is this facade that we're wearing? How do we portray ourselves? And do we understand our own biases? And this is a big thing to think about. Do we understand our own biases? Because we all have them. No matter what we think, no matter what we do, no matter what we say, we all have biases, and many of us have not recognized them. Do not know what they are. And then there's many of us that, despite our best intentions, really are oblivious to the whole picture. Let me give a couple examples. In this class, I asked everyone to tell me what their favorite color was. And the students all gave a range of colors. Now, the neat thing about that was you had white students, black students, Asian students. It didn't matter who they were, saying the same colors, different colors, and they're all like, "Oh, you like that color too? You like that?" It was like, oh, like the mind went up. You like this too, okay? But then you go down to the hallway and say, well, what do we think the favorite color of the people in this classes are? And in most cases, they all pick the same color. We know in our class, each one of us is individuals, and we like different colors. We just went through it. But in class down the hall, the microbiology class, well, they all must like blue or green or whatever color it is because they're all in the same class. We do that so often. Yes, we talk about research and talk about how things go, and if 54%, or let's even make it easier, if 51% of people believe in one thing, and our country right now is like that. If the Democrats are in charge, then all of a sudden, whatever the Democrats want should be going. Well, the Democrats win 51 to 49%. Does that mean the Democrats, all their rules should be given because the majority of people believe in them? Or vice versa, when the Republicans were in charge, should it be that the Republicans, all their views should be right because the majority of people believe them? No. I mean, the fallacy behind that is tremendous. Less than half the population votes. And it's 51 to 49 or 50.5 to 49.5%. I mean, we're talking the margin of victory in most of these races is very slim. It doesn't mean, oh, look, the Democrats won, so they must be in power, and what they want is what the rule of the land is, or what the Republicans want is rule of the land. No, but that's what we think. That's how we act. So we assume when we see one characteristic from someone, that they must then fit into the mold of every detail that you've stereotyped or thought for that person. And it's funny because I go into this And this class is the great example. I mean, we learned so much in this class. And I remember, and I already said it once, we wanted to right away tackle some of the big, I'm going to say big issues, but most obvious, uncomfortable situations. I asked the students, the African-American students, what do you prefer? Do you black, African-American, what? And go like, they looked at me and they're like, we're black. Call us black. Your guys are white. I'm like, all right. It was that simple. And then the air just released. We're like, all right, we're having these conversations. We're going. And then we went through other things because we had this open dialogue. But the biggest thing is we discovered the biases that we all had inside of us. What we think, what we're afraid of, how we live. Because growing up, we all have different biases. We see things differently. And it doesn't matter race, culture, where you grew up, whether you have money, you don't have money. We all see things differently. And you know what that does? Our ego is in charge of how we act and react based upon the biases that we've developed over our life and our experiences. I read this one book for this class and it was great. He put the analogy out there. When you're born, imagine your baby, a newborn baby, you're no clothes on, you're completely naked. Okay, you're you're a little baby. But automatically, if you're white, it's like a post-it note saying white on there. If you're black, post-it note saying black on there. If you're Jewish, a post-it note saying Jewish on there. And as you grow, everyone that meets you puts a post-it note on you based upon a bias they have or a stereotype they believe in you. And so as you grow up and you get older, all of a sudden, you got all these post-it notes on you from other people who defined you in a certain way. And how you have then thus defined yourself in that way from your own experiences is all your biases, and your ego sees all that. Your ego knows all that. And so now, when you act in public, go out there, that ego is protecting you. That ego is using that information to make your decisions and have you go forward, and vice versa. You are then going to use that information to perceive others. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, the majority of us use that information in how we perceive others. That's how our ego is set up. That is how we've learned to live. And that also goes into how we defend ourselves. Because if we don't like something that is happening, if we don't agree with something, it's not working out the way we want to, we will find the excuses in others. We will find the faults in others. We won't go back to looking at what we might have done or our role in this, because we always have a role. But our ego is always going to protect us. It's always going to shoot us forward to say, nope, see what happens, see this, and it's going to put more sticky notes on you. It's going to put more of that bias on you, and it's going to move you forward with that bias. Here's the challenge. Can you shake those post-it notes off you? Can you become free of them? Can you truly live your soul? Because that is different. It is not easy. And you will be misunderstood. You will be seen as others want you to be seen when you live from your soul, because when you live from your soul, the first thing you're doing, which people don't like, is you're going with the flow of life. And the flow of life does not always agree with people, things, and ideas that have specific expectations. Because what the soul does is it says, bring us along for the ride. We will guide you. We will send you the feelings, and you will use those feelings to determine how to move forward and help you make your choices. That is what we do, child. Here. That is what we do. We flow the energy. And you with that, just continue to go across. And to be not pushed, but to be guided where you want. And then we will let you give you the signs. We'll give you the little things that you will notice, that you will feel, to help steer you in the way you want to go into what you're looking for. But with that comes in the biggest challenge of all. No judgment. No expectations. Live in the now. Because when you have these expectations and you begin to judge and you begin to expect and want very specific things, you're not living in the now. You're projecting a future that is not there and which is not going to be there, because it gets narrower and narrower. And when you have all these biases behind you, you know what that does? It narrows what we can provide for you and show you, because you are now thinking this and this and this and this, instead of saying, this is all open to me. That is where all this ego stuff needs to be examined by you. It is not easy to let it go. We all have it. He has it. And it is not easy for others to accept and understand that when you're living from your soul and you're truly living in a free thinking and a loving capacity, it will not always jive the way others expect it to go. In fact, it will very rarely jive. Because so many people are living from the ego space, are living with these expectations that it must go a certain way. I will end with one more example and story. In the book I read, and I'll try to find it, I've got it in the binders here, that I used for this class, he gave an example of Easy Pass. So imagine you're driving on the highway to the interstate. And unfortunately, and this is what the data says, white males that are in the upper middle class, the upper class, are the biggest examples of this. They have the Easy Pass, and they're driving in the far left lane, no construction, no roadblocks, and go and they get to the toll booths. And they're like, well, why are people waiting in line? Why is it taking them so long to get there? You have Easy Pass, just do it. And they just stay in their lane and go. And then what happens, and this is where I added my twist to it, what happens is they're like, well, you know what? I see in this highway life, people need Easy Passes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my good due diligence and donate easy passes to those in need. Now, what is not seen is the other lanes in the highway have construction, roadblocks, barriers. So it's slower. There's hurdles. There's things that those people don't have. And you know what? There's a lot of people that don't have the car. So they're not even on the highway. But the person in that far left lane that has the easy pass and goes through decides the easy pass is the solution and provides it to people without cars. It's because of what their bias is, how they were raised, what they've seen, what their experiences are in that narrow tunnel vision. Many of you that are watching this are light workers. Consider yourself empaths, spiritual in some way. I promise you, you'll be challenged. People will understand what you do. Many people will. And then you'll find those close to you that will. But if you can remove those sticky notes that are on you, and you can then, when you do that, start living, listening to your soul, it changes how you perceive things. Because as I did in this class, we had to understand how to truly empathize, which starts with listening to the other person. Understanding where they're coming from, what their biases are, no matter what the conversation is about. It's not about agreeing to disagree. It's about understanding where they're coming from. Because no matter who they are coming from a different point in life than you. They experience different things. They know different things. And sometimes you can't let them see something else because they still have their post notes on and you still have yours. There's no easy solution. Rather, I'm feeling this. I'm going with this. Months ago, Cryan talked about mastery. He talked about the great masters of this world. And he shared 4 aspects that they all have in common. This includes Jesus. This includes all those great prophets, those masters that led different religions or are the centers of those religions. He tells them and tells us the aspects. And every day I say to myself, this is what I do. This is what I'm trying to be. Find peace during turbulence. I say I am peace. What does that mean? It means when you're in peace, you're able to first start the process of listening to your soul and to go with the flow. Second, they observe and do not react. That's the biggest part of flow, the biggest part of life, of this peace, because you will hear things, you will be told things, and if you can stop, observe, find peace in it, to understand and empathize with whatever is happening before you act. It's love. Live in love and light. Let this love and light come from your center. That's what they did. That's what they do. It means everything you do is with pure intent of love. And this can be very hard for people that don't understand that when you're going with flow, pure intent and love is without that expectation, without specific thinking, just living. So many people might see things as, well, why are you doing this? It doesn't help me, it doesn't benefit me, you're losing out here. But it's just because you're flowing to see whatever is going to evolve from that. And the last one is the toughest one, I think, for many people. We all struggle with this. I struggle with this. I'm going to say it my way. Speak well of others. Here's the way that Ryan shared it. Do not gossip. I say, speak well of others. I've seen this in my whole career. People will challenge you. Everyone will challenge you if they want something. But can you, instead of responding back with a defense, with an attack, can you listen? Can you empathize? Can you observe? Can you stay in peace? And then can you get ready for this? Can you say, I love you. I thank you for this. I appreciate this. And I have nothing but love for you. That is living from your soul. And that is not easy to do. Beautiful people, I love you. Thank you.